Part 6. The light goes on again. U.S. Cologne Private Airline. In late January 1940, a Norwegian-born Brent American citizen had arrived at the stock market, Sweden, to check out his Grand Hotel. Although wearing civilian clothes, he was a Cologne in the U.S. Air Corps and slipped into the stock market and converting his mission. Sweden, a neutral country, shares 800 miles border with German-occupied Norway, have a haven of refugees from all over Europe and 200,000 of them. A dozen of Swedish agents and both government operated and provided people with food, shelter, clothing, and medical care. Among all the refugees, there were 13 Norwegian military secret camps established through Sweden. All hoped to join the Allies' fight against Nazi Germany, clout the Swedish uniform, and Norwegians should patch up the armistice. Sweden, weapons, volunteers, formed up infantry brigades. When the German ambassador Sweden protested the Swedish team in the Norwegian health camps, he kicked them out. Meanwhile, a few 100 miles away, London was getting gripped by an invasion fever. Clearly, a more powerful navy in London, Belgium, France, Netherlands, so the Norwegian government in London helped. Throughout the war, Sweden's government have been walking tight with their neutral status, only occurring secretly once passing the German once, because the Americans, British, and other Americans were signing him to war. Voluntarily neutralized. Now, the British authorities were stumbled, the major obstacle, and how to get 2,000 men out of Sweden. After the U.S. London decisions, Cologne would do it. But it's gonna be hard though. It's called secret trafficking. Meanwhile, in Germany, they were developing a new weapon, a warhog, a crash site. It was the jet. It was the Stickix bomb with a jet engine on top. Kidnapping of a German general. In early morning of February 1940, Wellington, bomber of the Royal Air Force, slipped up at Egyptian airport of the Great Secretary of the Borderlands of the 20-year-old Major, Lieutenant Faris George. Months along the Greek coast, they still tried to defend it desperately, but they were overrun by Germans. Rommel has arrived in Africa, which gives the Allies an idea. If Rommel is alone, they could kidnap him, and because Rommel is against Hitler, they can use him as a general. So the plan was hatched of kidnapping a German general, Rommel. Montgomery, he set up a plan. In Gibraltar, he was gonna trap them all. In the West Line and the East Line, he was gonna kill Rommel's staff and kidnap Rommel. But Rommel's panzer nearly surrounded, but immediately broke out. And the desperate Italians fight to their death for Rommel's withdrawal. Rommel was surprised of the Italians' move, but he was grateful because now he had more to live. Even the famous British analysis, when Rommel died because Hitler ordered it to, Churchill, quote, although he's a loyal German soldier, he used to hate the maniac and hate Hitler and tries to save Germany, and therefore he paid the full price of his life, quote by Churchill. Meanwhile, in Kazakhstan was planned by the Mosty. The U.S. have been supplying Russia with war materials, jeeps, and also trucks, and winter clothing. Axis had nothing. The Kazakhstan headquarters in Pakistan, Russian leader Joseph Stalin, U.S. leader Roosevelt, and UK leader Churchill meets, and they discuss how to divide Germany and how to divide Japan. The numbers were strong, but they won't resist. They needed their men to sign an armistice of peace, but they wouldn't. They just wouldn't. The Allies were confident that they would win in the Pacific theater because Japan has lost all its carriers. Hands down, Japan will try. The British intelligence report that the German Helen Goering, the Minister of Defense, had just committed suicide. Now, the German economy is even weakened.